All right, let's add in enemies. So there's two types of enemies that Sean does, and I'll go ahead and put them both in one video, hopefully. So we're going to start off with just a sprite enemy, and just start off with an object enemy. I'll cover this object E fear here in a moment. So we're going to start off with an object enemy, and then from your object enemy, go into your room and drop him in a couple places. I actually have 2 and 2 in here, but just worry about putting in your object enemy, the first one. So just put a couple in somewhere. And then let's talk about what their code is going to look like. So let's go into one here, and we're going to look at the create function. And in the create function, I'll just pop up my magnifier so we can take a look at it a little closer. This is just mine. I happen to create a stupid, you don't necessarily going to have image speed unless you create a little small little animation. I made a dumb little animation, so I just slowed it way down because I'm at 60 frames a second. And so here's the ones you'll need. You'll need a direction and set it equal to -1. This basically means he starts off moving left, and then a move speed, an HSP and a VSP both set equal to 0. So we're going to use the same variables here, HSP and VSP, as we did in the player, because we're going to steal some of the code out of the player so we don't have to retype it. So we hit check. We go into the enemy step function, and at the very beginning, we basically just say HSP is equal to direction times move speed. And again, please use dir because direction is an actual variable that it will understand. And VSP plus equal grav will just have him fall. All right, so then horizontal collisions. Guess where we got all this code? All I did was I went over to the step function of the player, and I just cut and copied the vertical collisions and the horizontal collisions. There's only one slight change you have to make, and it's right here. So cut and paste it right on in. And then right here, what I've highlighted, you'll see that basic concept is if he does hit a wall horizontally, it just multiplies his direction. So direction times equal -1, and this will make him change direction when he hits a wall. So bam, you'll have enemies that come in and they'll drop down and they'll go left and right if they hit the wall. So now let's figure out what happens, what I'm going to do if he runs into a player. So we're going to go down to collision here, and we're going to talk about the code if he runs into a player. So if place meeting x, y, obj player, what do we decide to do? So this first one basically says if player collides from above, that's a good thing for the player. So if the player collides from above, then it says with object player VSP equals jump speed. So what this will do is it'll make the player bounce. So he'll bounce off the enemy's head. And then this instance destroy is meant for the Goomba or whatever enemy you want to call it. So this instance destroy is just meant for the enemy. So the player will bounce, the enemy will destroy. And then in the else statement, if it wasn't a collision for above, I said with object player instance destroy. So I'm just going to kill him. All right. So good. I mean, literally that'll do it for this enemy. And I would run it and let you see it, but I'm going to go ahead and explain the other enemy why I'm at it. So I'm just going to say okay for a moment. And then what I did was I just duplicated this enemy, and inside this other enemy, I called it object E fear instead. So an enemy who fears heights, because that's how he described it. So we're going to pop in here and we're going to look at the create function. And I added one variable here called fear equals 1. And so basic concept is that he is going to be scared of heights. And so I guess I didn't even have to do this, but we'll go ahead and explain it this way anyway. So we're going to go down and we're going to say every single piece of code was the exact same except down here, right here. So in your vertical, all right, if in your vertical stuff here, so this doesn't all quite fit on one. So let me go minus the magnifier. You're going to have to make do. So right here. So notice in the vertical collisions, underneath VSP equals 0, it basically says if fear and not position meeting x plus half a sprite width times direction. So if the sprite's moving left, he'll look to the left of the sprite. If the sprite's moving right, he'll look to the right of the sprite. And then basically it looks below. So y plus half a sprite width would be the bottom of the sprite, and then he just looks arbitrarily 8 pixels below. So basically he's looking to his right or left and looks down. And he says, is there something there? If not, don't go. And basically it just says turn him around, change the direction of this. All right. So I could change this code a little bit because I did make it a whole new sprite, but I'll just leave it like this for right now. And what you'll notice is if you go in and run it, 2 of these enemies are going to go all the way to the bottom, and the other two will land on ledges and then just go back and forth. So this enemy here and this enemy here have the fear of heights code. Notice they're looking to, he looks to his left, looks to his right, looks to his left, looks to his right. If there's no wall, it says turn around. These guys don't have that code in there, so they fell underneath the bottom. And if I jump on them, I should, if I can manage to jump on one, the timing's pretty rough. Maybe I'll try to get up here and just fall on one. If I fall on one, I should bounce off his head. If I fall on one, he should die, and I should be. If I die, I die. That's why I put a reset button in here, so I can just reset the level and I can go again. Obviously, plenty of other things we could do, but I think that'll get us a pretty good start for right now. We've got us a platformer. I missed him. That's a platformer. The timing's rough. There we go. Bang, off of his head, and we can move on. Good enough. Thanks.